So, the last topics, the limitations to the rights on copyright. First is that as to private performance, private and personal use, it is only applicable when a work has been lawfully made accessible to the public. With regards to personal use, making a single reproduction, adaptation, arrangement, or other transformation of another's work exclusively for one's own individual use in such cases as personal research, learning, or amusement. With regards to private use, it's the making a reproduction, adaptation, or other transformation of it in a single person as in case of personal use, but also for a common purpose by a specific circle of persons only. So, sa personal use, iisa lang ang gumagamit. Dun sa private use, pwedeng maramihan na tao, pero the use is only limited to their group. Another limitation is the fair use of copyrighted work. Fair use. What is fair use? Under the doctrine of fair use, it is a privilege in persons other than the owner of the copyright to use the copyrighted material in a reasonable manner without its consent, notwithstanding the monopoly granted to the owner by the copyright. The doctrine of fair use is meant to balance the monopolies enjoyed by the copyright owner with interests of public and of society. There are 4 criteria to determine whether or not it is fair or not. First is the purpose and the character of the use. Second is the nature of the copyrighted work. Third, the amount and substantially of the portions used. And lastly, the effects of the use upon the potential market of the copyrighted work. So, itong 4 na to, ito yung mga criteria determine kung fair use ba yung copyrighted work or not. The fair uses of protected material are 1. Criticizing, commenting, and news reporting. 2. Using for instructional purposes including producing multiple copies for classroom use for scholarship, research, and similar purpose. So, parang tayo, diba? Some authors allow the users of the book to photocopy it. Pero usually, hindi pwede. Diba? Pero kung inallow naman, but only for not for profit, okay? Not for profit or income. Hindi mo binibenta. For example, hiramin mo yung libro ni ganito, ni Juan de la Cruz, author si Juan de la Cruz, tapos hingi ka ng tig 10 pesos sa mga classmate mo para pang-photocopy, at 10 pesos lang naman yung pang-photocopy, then it's fair use. Okay? Another limitation is with respect to architecture. It is the right to control the erection of any building which reproduces the whole or a substantially part of the work, either in its original or in any form recognizably derived from the original, provided that the copyright in such work shall not include the right to control the reconstruction or rehabilitation in the same style as the original of the building to which that copyright relates. With respect to limitation to the production of published work, it must be exclusively for private study or research only, or for educational purposes. Again, if it's for profit, then you are now violating the copyright of the author. Another is for reprographic reproduction by libraries. Another is the reproduction of computer programs. Okay? Always remember that With respect to reproductions of computer programs, it is only allowed if there's only one copy made and the lawful owner made the copy. As to the, and of course, the purpose of which is not illegal in nature. Lastly, with respect to the importation for personal purposes, the importation of a copy of a work by an individual for his personal purposes shall be permitted without the authorization of the author or the owner of the copyright under the following circumstances. With respect to copies of the work not available in the Philippines, then there shall only be one copy at a time for strictly for individual use. The importation is by authority and for the use of Philippine government or for religious, charitable, and educational society imported not more than 3 copies per title. With respect to copies which form part of the libraries and personal packages, it must not be intended for it must not be intended for sale. What are your remedies in case your copyright is infringed or in case of infringement of copyright? Then there will be injunction, claim for damages, then you can also file for criminal action, pay for the disposition or destruction of the material or the impounding thereof with the of course the order of the court. What is the difference between the copyright, patent, and trademark? With respect to subject matter of the right, in a copyright, it only involves literary, scientific, or artistic work. Sa patent, it must be new, it must be useful, and industrially applicable inventions. Ang trademarks naman with regards to goods manufactured or produced. As to where it is registered, yung copyright sa National Library, okay? With regards to patent and trademarks with the Intellectual Property Office or the IPO. With regards to the duration of the right, in a patent there is the so-called 20 years from filing or priority date. With regards to trademark, 10 years. With regards to copyright, well, generally, 50 years, lifetime siya, plus 50 years after the death of the author. So, that's all for the part 1. First discussion for the IP Intellectual Property Code or Intellectual Property Law. The part 2 will consist of cases and some explanations na hindi na covered ng part 1. Thank you for listening. God bless you.